Okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome to this month's meeting. You might notice that I'm not Frank. Frank is on vacation. So I'm going to be covering some opening announcements before our two speakers. The first one is IntelliJ licenses. We are going to be giving away some IntelliJ licenses at the end. We're going to be doing it by having people raise their hands if they want an IntelliJ license and promise to redeem it in the next week or so, because JetBrains noticed that we haven't given any away in a while. Last meeting we didn't because we ran out of time. And before that, people didn't redeem them. So we really want to make sure they go to good homes where they're used. So we continue to be in the program where you can give away IntelliJ licenses. Oh, Rodrigo points out that if you're not doing Java, you're in the wrong room, but you can use it for PyCharm or any of the other JetBrains products. But I hope everyone here is a Java developer because our talks are about Java. We also wanted to let you know that a number of authors are in the room. Barry's written more books than I can count. I have just published my OCP Java 21 certification book, and Victor and I will be publishing Real World Java in January. So we're excited about that. And one of our speakers is a published author as well and would like to tell us about his book.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for being here. Me and Heather Vancura, she's the head of the JCP. We published this book here called The Developer Career Masterplan. Actually, that's the talk that you guys chose here to talk today. So that's I'm going to pass this around, right? So this here is actually here inside there's a QR code, and you can get the first chapter of the book for free, right? So I'm also going to put it later here. So if you don't want to, if you want to do this later, right? So just pass around. Yeah, thank you. All right. Okay, and I'll get this one here, right? How about that? So, okay, that's it, right? Actually, we do have. You already talked about all the books.
We did talk about
okay.
The books.
So this particular book, we talk about the 15 steps that you can do to grow beyond senior, right? So that's what we're going to be talking about today here, and I do have a friend that he's going to talk about his book. Can I hold this for me for a second? All right. All right. Hey, everyone. How you guys doing? Hey, doesn't like a phone, honey. That's good. I like that. All right. So, Jug, you're here to talk about your book. My book? I didn't publish yet. All right. So, what are you going to be about? I think I'm going to talk about JavaSIG groups. Okay, cool. So, what are you going to be talking about? How about I talk about the best practice of JavaSIG groups? That's a good thing. That's a good topic, right? So, okay, so guys, this is Juggy. He's the mascot for JavaSIG groups, right? So that's also him here. That's me right there. Okay, and so he'll be around if anyone want to talk to him. Good. I'll get around right there inside the bag. Okay. Thanks, everyone. All right.
All right. Thank you, Bruno, and thank you, Juggy. We have also made sure that Juggy can't get bird flu while he's here in the United States. So I want to make sure that he's okay and continue to go to all future meetings. It's good. Unfortunately, he's on my seat, so I'm going to sit on him in a second. All right. Now we're up to what you all came here for, our talks. Our first talk comes from Vini. He works for AWS and has supplied us with pizza today. Thank you for the pizza. Yeah. He's going to be talking about a day in a developer's life, which we know has something about AI in it, which means it's nice and timely. Take it away, Vini.
All right. So thanks a lot for hosting us. Big pleasure to be here, sharing my experiences using AI and GenAI for moving some of my Java legacy that I wrote almost 20 years ago. So I will be sharing some pieces of code and how I am modernizing, refactoring, and transforming this kind of code using tools. So before I start, I would like to have some thoughts about AI and GenAI. For me,
we need you to share your screen in the Zoom.
Okay. So that's here, desktop. So, is it okay, Barry?
Yeah.
Yep. So for me, AI is a big thing happening the last, I think, 10 years. But I like to study the computer's history. And if you look at the history, it's all about a consequence. So I think that I resumed my talk about the computer history. So we have like silicon, computers, internet, cloud, and then AI. AI is just possible because of cloud, cloud because of internet, internet because computers, and so on. So for me, it's just a consequence of innovations that happen over the years, but everything ends up in a server, even serverless, right? So if you are running serverless, you don't need to manage servers, but someone needs to manage. For AI and GenAI, everything ends up in a model or a large language model. So as a developer, I see GenAI and AI as just another web service that I can access and take advantage of this kind of service with intelligence behind. And it's still day one, so I don't think that we achieved the things that we are going to achieve, but I can imagine, or sometimes I can't imagine how it will be in 5 years. So that's my perspective as a developer. I'm really looking forward to the next years. Sometimes we generate a code that you cannot compile, and you have a lot of frustration. Sometimes using GenAI, sometimes it's like playing dice with code, which is not good. But I want to share my vision that we are in the right direction, and we will be there very soon. And GenAI will help us and will change the way that we produce software. And developers must use it. No, developers must try it. I think that as a developer, it's your responsibility to try using GenAI and try tools, any kind of tools that can change the way that you produce your code, or you produce your unit tests, or you save money by asking how you can have a better infrastructure, or how you can move from virtual servers to containers, from containers to Lambdas or serverless. So, but it's still day one. There is a lot of things to improve, and I'm happy to work at AWS. My friend Jonathan is also here. We work for Developers Insight. So our daily job is to listen to developers community and bring your voice to the engineers and service teams. So feel free to reach me on LinkedIn. If you have any kind of feedback, we can put you in contact with our engineers. That's the thing that I like most working at AWS, that you can have access to the people behind the technologies. And I had the privilege of working the last 3 years with James Gosling. He was a distinguished engineer at AWS, and he was really super available for the community, listening to the community and improving the Corretto, which is our open source JDK. But the message is, you must try to use GenAI and AI tools for your daily job. And I like when we are trying to forecast and predict the future, I like to look back at the history and the past. And we have a bias for prediction for a long, long time. This is the Antikythera. That was the first mechanical computer invented by Greek people 200 before Christ. So that's a long, long time ago. And they used this computer, this mechanical computer. It was literally a tablet based on stone. So don't complain if your device is heavy. Just remember this one. And they use this to make predictions for weather and agriculture. So 200 years before Christ. So that's a long, long time. And then if we jump in the history, we are trying to replace humans for a while. And I really love the history behind the mechanical turkey. Mechanical turkey, this turkey guy, he created a chess machine that could play better than a human. And then I have this movie here. You can find it on YouTube. I will not play it, the full movie, but then you can see here that you have a king, and he was like, they were showing to the king this chess playing machine that's supposed to have some artificial intelligence behind it. So, but in the end of the day, it was fake. And inside the machine, you have a real human playing chess. It was a turkey man playing chess better than the king. And then he was super upset because he couldn't win the machine. And look at his face. Well, what is happening here? Is this true? So we try to replace humans since this age. And guess what? Amazon does have a service called Amazon Mechanical Turkey that you can hire people to validate AI stuff. Like you can validate if you have something happening in a chat, or you can validate pictures, or you can use human resource, and you can hire human resource to improve your artificial intelligence models using Mechanical Turkey. So that's a real service that it's been in the market for a while. So it's amazing. And then for people that are working more than 20 years with computers, you may remember Sound Blaster, the card that you can buy to add like a sound to your PC. And they came with this Dr. Isbeitsu, which was a therapist, and then trying to do some kind of text-to-speech with a very limited intelligence behind, but it was my first time that I tried something like that. And sometimes I'm using a chat with GenAI and just remind me this kind of thing from the 80s, or, you know. And then also, this guy is famous one, the Clippy. Sometimes I also have the feeling that I'm using the chat inside my IDE, and then I say, oh man, that was Clippy. And there is a nice history about Clippy. Was a kind of Bill Gates invention, and it was called Microsoft Bob, and they just renamed it, and then everybody just hated. And I hope that we are writing a new history these days with AI and GenAI. But then just to show that we are trying to do this kind of stuff for a long, long time. So using AI for software development, we can use as a kind of virtual architect, like I used to ask when I'm migrating. I was migrating a big project, a big legacy project that we did in 2003, and before the struts. And I used to ask, like, should I use Spring or should I use Quarkus? That was my big question and my big decision as a software architect, because in the past, in 2004, I made a very bad decision of using JBossSim instead of Spring. And we are paying a very high price with this legacy. And this is the project that we are working the last 18 months to migrate to Quarkus. And then I use it a lot, GenAI, to help me to answer this kind of question. And for this, I think that is a kind of search engine, a more robust search engine that you can find. You can Google about, should I use Spring or Quarkus, but then you need to read all the text by yourself, and then you need to resume. So I really like to chat with models to ask about architectural decisions, just to validate if my friends or my colleagues or the real architect is not using the passion, because sometimes we are driven by passion to use the latest framework because we can have more fun doing our job. And sometimes it's not the best decision for a company, especially like here banks, that you really need to make major decisions. And you will write software that will last for decades. And so coding is something that we are doing the last 3 years. Today, I am doing a lot of things with Roblox. I like to play with Roblox. I'm doing a lot of integrations with AI and GenAI and Roblox to study myself and improve my knowledge. And if you are coding at Roblox, you have like autocomplete based on GenAI. So that's something that is already happening. I will not cover like coding with GenAI. You can use many tools to do it. Debugging is amazing, because I do remember when I was like 16 years old and I was coding with my mentor in my first job. And I do remember going overnight, working like 2 days in the same code, and I just got tired, and I couldn't find the bug in my software. And then I used to ask my mentor, please sit here in my desk, in my computer, and try to find it for me, because I'm so tired that I cannot find what I'm doing wrong here. And sorry, I'm moving a lot. Okay. Okay. I'm
See you at your best.
okay. Cameraman, thank you, Barry. So debugging is something really, really useful. Documenting the code, that's something that developers just hate. Getting help, learning about code bases, learning new programming language. In this migration project, we have like trainees doing a lot of code for us and converting a lot of code for us. And for people that are new to code, learning with other projects is super important. And testing, optimizing, taking care about infrastructure, optimizing costs. I will show something related to optimizing costs, doing security scans. So there are many things that we can use AI and GenAI to improve our code quality. And we have a lot of features, like code completion is the most popular one, chat and inline chat. So I love to use the chat. I will do some live demos using the chat, generating tests, taking care about security. And then we have the agents, the developer agents, where you can ask complete things for the developer agent. When I use the Amazon Q, our tool for software development with GenAI, we have the /dev in the chat, and then you can type your prompt, but it's not like a very simple prompt. You can really do complex prompts with a full specification. And so developer agents is starting to happening these days. And then we have other agents like transformation agent. I will talk about in the end of my talk here. We have a tool to upgrade Java 8 projects to Java 17 and using GenAI. And modernization is another step that we are moving forward to modernize your code. Is not just translating from Java 8 to Java 17, is also about like using Java records and things like that to modernize your code and maybe save some money, because sometimes you are using a new Java syntax that behind the Java syntax, you can have a better performance. If you have a better performance, you will have a lower costs in your build. And code translation, like the dream is start to happening, like I want to convert this COBOL code to Java or to TypeScript. So this is something that we can really, we have a very huge potential to use GenAI to do code translation. So the things to consider: security and privacy. I've been in conferences in Europe, and then many times that I'm there showing some tool, they ask like, is this code traveling to US? Yes, it is. No, I cannot use. So because they have like laws, they have like rules that they cannot share the code, or they cannot allow the code even if it is a secure connection. They cannot let the code travel to the US for multiple reasons. Pricing is something super important these days, because sometimes you have hundreds of developers. History tracking and using user monitoring. We are in a time that it's hard to figure out which part of the code a human did and which part of the code the artificial intelligence did. So tracking and having like, okay, I want to have all my AI chat conversation inside my GitHub repository as well as part of my project asset. So it's super important, because you want to figure out why developers took the decision of using that suggested code or something like that. And model customization is another thing that is super important, especially for big companies. You want to have like a code suggestions based on your code and not code suggestions based on open source code. So you may look for what the products are offering and related to this. And we have tools. I think that ChatGPT is the first one, but it's kind of Google-like. Most of developers, they just change to the browser and they copy and paste the code inside ChatGPT, or ask something and copy and paste from ChatGPT to your IDE. And that's a way to start. But then we have GitHub Copilot, Tab9, Cursor, Pieces, and then Amazon Q Developer. That's the one that I'm going to show for clear reasons, because I need to pay my bills. But I'm not doing a commercial speech. I'm just showing how I am using Amazon Q Developer and GenAI. You can replace Amazon Q Developer for any other tool that you are trying. Who here is already using any of these kind of tools for development? Okay, cool, nice. Okay. So project details that I'm working on. This is a conference management system from 2004. We started writing this in 2003, and we released it in 2004. So 20 years old project, is still in production, and it's still running on JBoss 4.2.3. So very old stuff, and very hard to move from JBoss 4. Using like serverless, JSPs, and JSF. Bad choice. Bad choice, dude. JBoss Sim, another one. I was super impressed like with dependency injection. And at that time, we had a competition between like Spring, Rod Johnson, basically, Gavin King with JBossIM, and now the Java EE standard. And I think that in the industry, Java EE and Spring is the most used ones. Then we have the JDK 8 and 11. For some modules, they cannot run on 11, they still run on JDK 8 and Java EE 5. So you can see it's very old stuff with managed servers. They have like their own data center to host everything, and it was a really hard time. When we had the conference running, sometimes we have the Linux man just rebooting everything every 2 hours because we have some issue. And then 3 years ago, they moved it to AWS using the same architecture, but then they migrate to EC2 instances, and it was way better. Then we did a roadmap to have everything migrated to Lambda, and then that's the project that I'm working, and I'm not working as a coder, but I'm kind of technical advisor for this project. And then we choose Quarkus Vaadin as a user interface. Anyone using Vaadin here? No? Okay. I better review this decision. Yeah, I love Vaadin. It's super nice because you can keep your knowledge around Java and do nice user interfaces. And Jakarta EE10 with Eclipse micro profile, JDK 1721. And then we are running as a Lambda fat jar. So sometimes people think about Lambda as a single function, a service to host a single function and small stuff. That's not true. Lambda is a container in the end of the day, which is a server in the end of the day. So we are using the concept of fat jar. So we can pack the whole Quarkus project and deploy as a single Lambda. So we have like 7 different modules and 7 different Lambdas runtime hosting the project. And for the database, we migrated to Aurora Serverless. So we have this big change, like 20 years from here to here. And it's just possible because of AI and GenAI technologies. So let me start showing the old code here. Barry, is it okay with my screen? Yeah, okay, nice. So
I can get rid of that for you.
How can I hide?
Yeah, go down and do hide video or hide floating meeting controls. There you go.
Here we go. Nice.
Now what we see now is Zoom.
Uh-huh.
Is that what we're supposed to see right now?
Yeah, no, this one.
Ah, good.
Huh?
That's good.
So this is the GitHub repository, and I choose this one. Let me increase the font size here. As you can see, one particular thing about this project that it's very interesting is that we have a lot of Portuguese and English in the code, which can make AI life super hard, you know, because like, look here, get parameter tipo is type. Get instance, get by nome, get by name. Like, man, this is super confusing. Like, we are not making AI life easy, you know? And so this is a framework that I wrote myself 20 years ago before Struts. It's a kind of custom MVC framework. And they still using it 20 years later. And it's really impressive. So sometimes it's all about like having something simple, it's super simple, and it's super based on Gang of Four design patterns: factory, abstracted factory, commands, visitor. I love Gang of Four design patterns. And here we have a huge set of commands. A command is kind of a simple request with a very limited responsibility. So it's super nice. We have a very high granularity, but in the other hand, the code is super isolated. I like the result that we have. And we have like, this is for the member or the attendee, the conference attendee. And this is the search command, extending base command. So, and let's look at the GitHub history here. So as you can see, like last commit 12 years ago. So 5 days ago, correção, fix, some fix. 2 years ago, 12 years ago, okay, so not good sign. And then if we look here, we have a huge set of commands. Like, let's go to the member commands. So each command will be an action. So that's a lot of code. And imagine someone translating this to a REST API using Quarkus manually. Wow, that's a lot of coffee you need to drink to do your job, you know? So this is a small company. They don't have money to afford developers doing it manually. So they are just running the last 20 years because of that. So I like this use case because GenAI is really unblocking this company to move from his 20 years old legacy. And then what we did a couple months ago, we just created a very simple Quarkus project, and we start trying the things with GenAI to check the results. And then the first demo that I'm going to show you here is like, I'm going to grab buscar command, search command. I'm going to copy and paste this code here. Okay. And then the exercise was, I'm going to have my, this is the new project. This is the new baby, so beautiful. And then, so beautiful, so new stuff. So let me find the other, okay. And here we go. We did a very small Quarkus project, proof of concept in the beginning. So we have classic modeling, like we have the resource with all the REST APIs. We have the service that will make the connection with the database. Here we did using DynamoDB, but then in the production we are using Aurora with Hibernate, so it's classical JPA. That's something that I think that I will die using Hibernate and JPA. That's a very good part of Java EE. But then the exercise was, is the AI will be able to translate my code to this new architecture? So that's what I tried. So let me show you here. I'm going to open Amazon Q, and then I will say, based on the project, my workspace, translate this Java EE old code. I don't need to mention that to make it compatible with my current project. And then I will paste my code here. And let's see the result. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I did this demo. Oh, my first demo, come on. What a huge pressure. Yeah, I will close it and open it again. Big bank base, okay. Yeah.
On the bank's network, like we have to set up you.
Okay. Yeah, we have connection here. Oh my gosh. I swear that I did this demo so many times. What is happening here? What I'm typing wrong here? Oh, okay. Let me try to do something here different, because I do remember that I didn't copy everything. Oh, I will tell you what I did different. For some reason, I was doing without the imports. I don't know why. I just copy all the code. Now I copy the imports, and then it just broke the thing. So it's still day one, as I mentioned in the beginning of my talk. That's the reason why I did the disclaimer. So now I can breathe again. Let's see here the result that we have. And then we can see that it's So here we go. Here we go. First thing, migration to Jakarta namespace. Good stuff, because we have the JavaX, and for GenAI, many times you have the JavaX because we have more documentation around JavaX than Jakarta namespace. So it's very common that GenAI will push you JavaX, which is not Jakarta E compatible, Jakarta E10 compatible. So I like that. And then members, the path members, and so we could figure out that I'm having the member service and injecting the member service, and then cert members, and then this is not so accurate. We need way more parameters here, but it's kind of a nice piece of code to have as an example. And then here we have the first thing. Here it's using switch. And in the original code, you can see here if and else ifs. Good thing. I like that. And then member service, find by name, find by partial name. That was in Portuguese in the original code. And then, oh, wow, that's amazing. That's good thing, you know? Find by partial name. And then we can see that we are using member service, registration, dealing with date and adding the time to date. So I really enjoy the result that I have here. And then return response dot OK, because it's confusing, because the previous framework we used to forward the result to a JSP. So that's not easy for GenAI to figure out how to make it compatible with Quarkus, because it's completely different way to approach. But it's fair enough, the results that we have here. And then the corresponding service class, and then it starts like, okay, you should create a repository and inject the repository, and then keychains, JAX-RS, proper layering, like layering, resource service repository. I'm not using repository. Modern exception handling, Quarkus logging. That's something that we are really, for the new project, we are really trying to avoid any kind of Quarkus dependence in the business classes, because it was a big mistake on when we use a JBoss sim, importing things from JBoss sim to business classes, and then you need to refactor all the business classes once you change your framework. So we are designing the new project to make it easy, if not easy, it will not be easy, but easier than the JBoss sim project, if we change our idea and say, okay, we want to move to Spring, and we decide that Quarkus is not going good anymore, and we change our idea. So we are trying to make it easy. So we are not using a lot of Quarkus dependencies and Quarkus classes. Sometimes you can have huge advantage, but then you can isolate this kind of code to make it easy for migration. And so that's a nice way to refactor your code from 20 years old. And then we also have here an example of get member. And let me try something here. Can you create create a curl command to test this REST API? Let's see the context. So here we go. I like that because it's not about just Java. Sometimes I have my project with DynamoDB classes, and then I say, okay, based on my project, create the CLI command to create the DynamoDB table. And then, wow, how easy it is. I could figure it out myself, but it's something that I have expertise to do myself, but it's something that is saving a lot of time for me. So I like this kind of thing that you can ask different stuff, not just for Java. And yeah.
The mic too. So a lot of questions come up when you using this. Just and I don't know if you're going to get to this, but two that come to mind is how do you do cycling on that? So if you get this code, you want to make some changes, then what do you can you regenerate? What happens to your changes? That's that whole recycling problem.
Yeah, I will.
And then also, it applied some types of changes it told you about. How do you interact with it to say, hey, also I want you to, I don't know, do something else, when you
Yeah,
apply a different kind of change.
Yeah, about doing this for real, we have the transformation agent that you can use to migrate the complete set of commands automatically. So I'm here just showing what is happening in the behind the scenes of the transformation agent. Okay, so we are not using and we are not migrating manually, like asking the chat and copying and pasting the code. So for doing this, we have agents to complete this kind of task. Two agents, developer agent and transformation agent. And then for the transformation agent and developer agent, you have the concept of human in the loop. So you can have interactions and then, oh, okay, I reviewed this code, but then you choose the wrong dependence version. Please change this version to that version. And then you can have a better interaction, okay? Here I'm just using the chat just to show what is happening behind the scenes of the agent that we will be using for production, okay? So another thing that we are doing research is how to modernize the Java syntax to use new resources like string concatenation, records, and so on. And then the sample that I have here, because transforming a simple class with getters and setters to records, it's something that it should be easy, and you may not need AI to do this kind of thing. But then I have another example here. Let me open my project. Oops. So here we have the project running on Parquet and everything, but then we are still using API RS. No, let me find the right repository, core, maybe it's core. Okay, so we have the new member class. Super big one. So it's a JPA class with named queries and things like that. And the table name, that's a funny history because I named it in 2003. I created a J2EE free short training in Brazil. Bruno probably remember that. Oh, here. Yeah. Do you remember the free short training? And then some magazine just published this free short training, And we start having a lot of attendees, and then they were sending emails to attend this free short training. And then I said, oh, I need to create something because I need to capture their names and their emails. And then I create something super simple, a web page running my own server. And then I create this table. Not good one. Call it I got you, because I got your data. At that time, it was not that a big problem, you know. People really want to know, to receive notifications by email about free Java trainings. And then, but then 20 years later, the table in the system is still called I got you. And so here we have a complex class, and we cannot change these to Java records because Java records are immutable. And here is a JPA class. So I said, okay, let's see if I ask the chat to migrate this member class to start using Java records and see how it will figure out. So let me ask here, refactor member.java class to use Java records. Oh, look, the message. It's a JPA entity. We need to be careful as records have some limitations with JPA. And I don't know, like, I'm just investigating how it will show up. So in this case, no, not good one. The previous one was really bad. Then I closed my ID. The previous one I was saving because it was using an aggregation. And so it said, okay, I'm going to isolate the member in a record. And then he created another method to convert from member JPA to member record, and from record to JPA and everything. But now I just got a different answer. It happened all the time when we are doing AI and GenAI demos. In the past, we used to say, it usually works on my computer. With GenAI demos, we said, yesterday I got a different answer, you know. So it's different excuse. But then I got this answer saying that, okay, let's try to go further. Let's try to be more like, okay, here we go. It's doing better now. And so, yeah, member data. It's using the member data here. So it's something like that. Minimal change, and then creating a new member, and then it's another approach. Yesterday was bad, but it's using a different approach. And then yesterday I didn't specify it like, okay, refactor using aggregation with minimal change. I just said, just refactor member to start using Java records, and then it just figure out everything by itself. So that's another example that we can use, and that we can see behind the scenes what is happening with transformation agents and how it will deal with that. And another one is like I'm going back to my pig bank base project. And then here I have template YAML to deploy this Quarkus application as a Lambda. I'm going to delete this. And then what I'm going to ask here is like, okay, I'm running this project as Lambda, and I'm having a very bad code start. And then what I can do to make it better with code start. And then let's see how it will figure out. So let's see if we have the expected result. Okay. Member. Okay. So what I was looking for is this one. So it could analyze like my deployment description file. I'm using the serverless framework, serverless tool to deploy it. And then for Lambda, we have the last 18 months, the concept of snap start, that we can like use the code start, we can take a snapshot from the image in memory, and then we can restore the image instead of starting everything from scratch. So it is suggesting to use snap start in my deployment configuration. So that's the answer that we need. And then it will go through the code and show how we can improve our code to make like a native compilation, or even having some code related to Lambda to make it faster. So it's just to show that you can have your project, your full project in your IDE, and then you can ask like, okay, how I can optimize the performance to have better code start, or to not have code start. And I can tell you that for Java and Quarkus, we reduce it from 4 to 5 seconds to 500 milliseconds, the code start process. So it means a lot for production. And this is a big thing for serverless running on Lambdas. And then that's the part of using the chat to show behind the scenes. But then we have the agents. And then for the agents, it's kind of, as I mentioned, these days it's kind of playing dice with coding, and devs don't play dice with coding, but then that's the phrase that about physics computing, quantum computing, and quantum physics actually. And what I have here, I did a blog post 2 weeks ago about how, let me open here.
I want to note that we're running low on.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm just doing one more demo here. And community.aws. I should have everything open here. Sorry. Just to show how I prompt everything. Wow, how many new blog posts we have in a week. So here, what we have here is I have my Roblox game, and then I was looking forward to add like LLMs to my Roblox game using Amazon Q. And what I did here, you can replicate yourself. I created a Quarkus project from scratch. And then it's a very simple Hello World Quarkus project. And then I just used Amazon Q developed agent. And I did this prompt, like add to my workspace inside my Quarkus project, a Bedrock resource, simple access, using this prompt, use Jakarta.ws, and then also update my Maven dependencies to use Bedrock runtime, and then I specify the version that I want to use. And then as the result, it added the dependence to Bedrock and also created with 100%, it's compiling. Like I just generate everything and then build the project and deploy the project without a minimal change. So that's the developer agent doing something simple with a simple prompt, but then you can also have way more advanced big bank prompt collections. I think that I have it here. Oh my gosh, I have so many windows. Sorry for that. I'm running out of time, but then you can really write, like I did 4 pages with a prompt asking for a Spring project, unit testing, the code conventions, and everything. And I got a fair result. I have to fix some stuff inside, but then my message here is that don't keep your prompt simple when you are using agent. Like use a full description about what you want with like versions of your dependencies and every detail that you have in your project. Go to the agent and ask to generate for you. And don't do simple prompts because the agents can cost money, and then you are going to pay per interaction and not how complex is your prompt. So don't be afraid and don't be shy to like have a small prompt. Like you really need to do like advanced prompts for agents. And the last agent that we have is the transformation agent. That is the automation process to migrate all the code. And then we did this because we still have a lot of Java 8 in production inside AWS and Amazon. And then you can use here in VS Code, we have /transform, and then you can trigger the transformation. You can trigger the transformation agent here /transform, and then it will ask you the target project, the source project, the target project, and then it will analyze like dependencies, deprecated code, it will update dependencies, it will remove and replace deprecated code. So the transformation agent is a big thing that is happening at AWS and with GenAI, and then I see a lot of potential. That's the screenshots that we have for the transformation agent. It will show this transformation hub, and then in the end, you can download the proposed changes, and then you can check the change that did, and then you can accept the changes, and that's it. And you can also do, as I mentioned, code translation. I'm doing like exercises with COBOL code. I'm doing exercises with VB. I did a lot of VB to TypeScript, and it's super impressive, the results that you can have translating code as well, instead of transforming, asking to GenAI to, like, I have this Clipper code, for example, transform to Java. So great potential for me. GenAI with Java legacy is my main goal. It's been the thing that I'm working the last 2 years. We are looking forward to have APIs and plugins so we can have a kind of CI/CD that we control for the transformation project. And as I mentioned, it's still day one. I think that we all must try to use this kind of tools and open our mind. It's not perfect, but the models are evolving very, very fast. And I think that you have a lot of good stuff to take from the GenAI generation. And that's it. So, all right, thank you.
Okay. Internet people, we're just going to pause for a few minutes as we change speakers. While we're doing that, we're going to do the raffle so that we don't have to do it at the end. Raise your hand if you would like a JetBrains license and promise to register it. I see 4 hands. All right, you all win. Say your name so we recognize. Oh, 5. Okay, we have 5, right? Okay, say your name so we recognize them when. Okay, all 5 of you, email us at info@javasig.com. Remember, you promised. Okay, if those don't get redeemed, we'll know that really what it is.
Like the unique thing Amazon built.
Yeah. It's part of
5
Amazon.
people want it.
If you subscribe to Amazon, you can have access to the transformation. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, ready to let me know. Sorry. You want to be off now? Share. Are you good? All right, quick introduction to Bruno. You remember him before. He brought Jaggi to us and entertained us. He's going to be telling us a speech about the topic of the book. Take it away, Bruno.
Yes.
Yes, because the internet people won't hear you.
Right, so.
Didn't we give you? Oh, we didn't give you my number. Here you go.
Yeah, maybe the other ones get used if Vinicius, right? Yeah, I think Vinicius took the other one. Vinicius, you have to return the microphone. Don't take the microphone away. All right, no problem. Okay, so.
I gave you mine.
Okay. Yeah, I got one. All right. And the good thing is that this camera is very close here, so I can be here, and so everyone's just gonna see. Here, the camera doesn't know what to do. My face is too close. Yes. All right. Okay. So hello everyone. Hello everyone that's online. Hello everyone that's here. So good to be here with you guys. Thanks for the NYJavaSIG user group to host me here. The last time I was here, I was for the JCP meeting, and it was a great discussion. Hey Mary, how you doing? Right, so you're gonna see the presentation again, right? So Mary,
Different presentation.
yeah, that's it. Then I'm glad Mary was here. Was on the New York, no, so the Garden State user group yesterday, and so she got late. You're supposed to go here for Vinicius talk, right? So you missed that, right? So you're gonna watch my talk again, right? Actually, it's a little bit different, but you know, as I showed before, me and Heather Vancouver wrote this book called The Developer Career Masterplan, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But I want to make this very interactive, right? So I'm just going to talk very briefly about the 15 steps, and I want to talk to with you guys about what's going on in your career, right? So before I start, I just want to understand who you are, right? And so who here? Let me see. Should I go as students? I mean, maybe students is not enough, right? I mean, I don't see anyone here. There's probably still maybe there is, right? But so who here consider yourself a junior developer? Right? So is someone starting a few years of career? Okay, it's good. Thanks. Okay, who here consider yourself a mid-level developer? Okay, all right. Who here consider yourself a senior developer? Okay, most everyone. So, and who here consider yourself a post-senior developer? All right. Yeah, right. Okay. Okay, that is a good question, right? Yes, some of you do consider yourself post-senior. That's good, right? So whatever it means to you, that's good for me too, right? One of the things that we can see, and actually making it interactive immediately, right? So I've been talking a lot about growing beyond senior, and one of the things that we see is that a lot of developers here, a lot of developers, when you reach the senior level, right, you can stay at senior level forever. Maybe not forever, but for a long time. I was talking to a developer maybe a year ago. I was talking to a developer in Germany, and he said that he became a senior developer when he was using Java 1.2, right? So Java 1.2 came out in 1998, right? So for the last 20 years, the guy is a senior developer, right? And that's it. And you can be a senior developer and you stay there, right? You can, it's good. You continue to do code. You continue to solve problems. You continue to work on things, right? You might do more sophisticated coding, for example. You might even get better salary, right? But your overall responsibilities don't change, right? And that's a very comfortable thing to do. But some people would take the step of going beyond senior and going do something else, right? So we can even talk a little bit about that. Oh, so that's supposed to be first. I think I'm in the wrong place here. Oh, okay. All right. So I've been sharing the wrong thing the whole time, right? Anyway, so
you want that to be showing up on the YouTube?
Is it right?
It's not right now. Are you
It's
sharing
not?
your screen?
Yeah, I'm sharing your screen. I was supposed to. All right. So let me try this again. Okay. So share screen again. All right. Share. Okay.
Now it's
Now I'm sharing.
Yeah.
All right. So then the slideshow. Okay. Good. All right.
But remember, now you're going to be this teeny little face in the corner of.
Right. I mean, you can remove. As you know, I have very few slides, so you can.
Okay.
You can remove me you can remove the slides as much as you want from the. You want me to stop sharing, or you can do this?
Well, let's just move forward.
Right. Okay. No problem. So yeah, where's that thing over there? Oh, that's what it is. Okay, let me just take this out of here. Oh, come on.
Just click the.
All right. Okay. Okay. So as I was saying this, some people will take new roles, right? And they'll continue to be technical roles, and you will grow. So that's actually could be a question here. because many companies have those roles, right? They call it, like, they call independent contributor or staff plus, or, like a principal engineer, distinguished engineer. What's going on?
I think your is your laptop
No.
No?
It's here.
well, all right then.
But and then it stops sharing, right? When he does that,
Yeah.
I think it's something between the laptop and the screen.
Well, we can hear you on the internet. People can hear you, so.
All right, so
Okay.
let's not use slides at all, right? Let's just talk about. Okay, that's good. Not a problem. And so who here has a position? That's would be a good question. Who here has a position of staff? Anyone here? No. Who here has a position of principal? Principal developer, principal engineer. Okay, some people, right? Who here has a position of distinguished engineer? Okay, all right. Yeah, I see something from the screen.
Okay.
I don't know. All right. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Does it bother you guys? It's just flashing behind me. All right. So I'll stay here so you don't have to look at this. Yeah. All right. So one thing that I want you guys to think about, and so we can have a conversation here, is when you think about your career, right? So what's the next step for you? Or maybe how far do you want to get? Right? What is the thing that you want to do? You guys think about this a little bit. Are you happy where you are? Do you want to do a next step, right? What do you think? What is the next step for you? Think about it. Or maybe how far you want to get. Thinking about it? Everyone's thinking about it? Thinking about it? Yeah? How far you want to get? Okay. So here's my question to you, right? So what do you think prevents you from getting there? What's your biggest challenge? You don't know how to do it. Maybe you don't have time to do it. Maybe you think you need to learn new things. What's your challenge? Why don't you get what you want?
Rhetorical question, or you want?
No, I want them to think about. Yeah, I want you to think about, right? It's not rhetorical. It's I want you to think about, right? Are you thinking about what's your challenge right now? Yeah. Okay, so that's what I want to hear. I want to hear your challenge, right? So we can talk about, and we can try to make a plan, right? Now, don't need the microphone right now, because I'm just going to go really quick, and I'm going to talk about two things that I think is important for a career here. So I got to share again, right, Barry? All right, so let's see if I do this really quick, then it doesn't flash on the internet, people, right? Okay, so two things I want you to understand, right? So career is a process, right? It's a cycle that we have to repeat over and over and over, right? So we call this the feedback loop, the career feedback loop. You got to learn something, whatever it is that you want to do. You got to practice. Only when you practice, only when you put things in real life, right? When you do things, that your brain changes. Really, really important, right? So the reason why we become amazing developers or amazing professionals, anything that we're doing, is because we change our brains biologically, right? And the only thing that changes our brain biologically is not the studying, is the doing, right? So we got to do things. And that's actually on the first chapter that some of you guys got, and I'll put the link up in a minute. We talk about the difference between knowledge and skills, right? So when you practice, that's when you actually acquire the skills that you need, right? And only the skills that matter. It's your experience, the only thing that matters, right? So for example, you never put in your resume the books that you read, right? Or the course that you took. You always put the things that you did, right? The experience that you actually have. And so that's the thing that changes your brain. That's the thing that impacts your career. And then, but the thing is, lots and lots of people learn and practice and don't grow, right? They learn and practice, and they stay wherever they are, right? And one of the reasons for that is because other people don't see the value of what they're doing, right? So that's why it's so important that you do network, right? That you know people, that you meet people, that other people know who you are. We call this reputation. Reputation, I mean, of course, there's networking too, but reputation is what people believe about you, right? So if people that work with you, if they don't believe anything about you, then you don't grow, right? Unless you're doing your own company and then you're doing your own stuff, that's a little bit different, right? But even then, your customers need to believe in what you're doing, right? So for your company to actually be successful. So inside a company, if people around you, they don't believe anything about you, if you don't have a good reputation inside your company, outside of your company, you get stuck, right? And we can even talk a little bit more about that. And then what is the best way for people to know what you do and know who you are and actually value what you're doing? It's sharing, right? When you share your knowledge, when you share what you do, when you share, you know, the things that you're good at, right? There's a five-step, it's not 5-step, but like 5-step phrase, right? Five phrases I like to say is that if, there's always an if there, right? If you share what you know, other people know what you know, and they trust you in what you know. And when they need what you know, they call you and not someone else. Okay? So that's why reputation is so important, because you got to be the person that gets called to participate on new projects, to be involved on the next step. You know, that's the thing that you need to do to cause more impact. So if you want to grow, especially if you want to grow beyond senior, right, you need to cause more impact in the company, right? Two things that you need to have is more impact and more autonomy. It's very interesting because software developers have a lot of autonomy. You see other professions, there's not a lot of, some professions don't have a lot of autonomy. We do. You know, most what we do because we do. We decide what to do. You know, we take hundreds and hundreds of decisions every day in our coding. Maybe you don't have a full autonomy on the architecture, for example, but you have full autonomy on the things you're doing every day, right? I mean, you have a lot of autonomy, right? But for you to grow even more, you have to have more autonomy. The more autonomy you have, more responsibility you have, more impact you can have, in your company, in your team, eventually even in the world. Okay, so this is what we call the feedback loop, right? So the more you share, the more people see the value of what you have, the more they call you to interesting things. When they call you to interesting things, the more opportunities you have to learn and practice and do the cycle again and again. Okay, so when you do this whole cycle here, then the chance that you don't grow reduces a lot, right? Because let's just get inside a company, for example. Many people think that their bosses can for example, promote them. It's usually not your boss that promotes you, right? Who promotes you is the boss of your boss, or many times the boss of your boss, right? So we call them the skip manager. Actually, that's something I learned last time I here in the US, right? So your skip manager, the boss of your boss, or your skip manager, the boss of your boss, those are the people that promote you. So if the boss of your boss, when he talks to his boss, and they're not talking about you, you're not going to be promoted, right? So that's why you gotta do those things, right? That's why it doesn't really work for you just to learn and practice, right? So you have to get people around you have to know who you are, have to understand what you're doing, have to understand the value that you bring to it. Make sense? So if you want to grow beyond, you can stay senior and you can be doing your code and using AI to actually help you out being more productive and doing fast, and all of this is amazing. I love those things. But if you're not talking about those things, if you're not being visible, if you don't have a reputation, then that's all you're going to be doing, is just doing your code, and you have less impact on things around you. Okay? So, okay. Wow. Almost, right? I wasn't fast enough. All right. So let me just kind of put here my last slide here, and then so then it's not going to get this here anymore. And so, this just we can talk about all those things here, right? So this is a little bit of the things that we talk about in the book, right? But my goal here is to apply those 15 things here to the problem that you have, right? Remember, you think about your challenge that you have. What is the big thing that you want to do, the challenge that you have? This here is, I want to apply this 15 steps here to solve your problem, right? The situation that you have. So you know, I see some picture of that. If you go to this page here, you're going to get the first chapter for free for the book. And on this page, you have those 3 images, right? So, you know, so then you can have the full page. So if you want to, this is the first chapter of the book, right? The Developer Career Master Plan is the chapter about learning. So you can just go ahead and get that. And I'll just leave this here.
Take your
Okay.
picture fast before it disappears.
Is what?
Take your picture fast
Yeah.
before it disappears.
Okay. So yeah.
You have 20 minutes left.
Right. Okay. Cool. Thank you. So now what I want to do here is I want to know, what is your challenge? You know, you can tell me the things that you want to do, or you can tell me the challenge that you're facing right now, or the things that you don't know what to do, whatever. Because I want to apply those things to help you grow your career. Who wants to be the first? And actually, I'm gonna give a gift, right? So if you know, whoever asks a question, I'm gonna give you a gift. How about that?
Okay. So I have a lot of legacy crap that I have to maintain, and it weighs down on the time that I could spend learning new things and doing all the great ideas you have up there.
All right. So let's see if I can do this here really quick here. So because then we can go. So lots of legacy codes. Okay. Just gonna increase this thing here. Yes. A lot of legacy, no time to do new things, right?
Yep, that's it.
All right, cool. Who else? That's all you want to know? Just one question? If I have time, I'm solving all my problems. Is that what you want to do? Come on. Who else? What problem are you facing right now? Raise your hand. Come on.
I've got
Right there.
one.
Oh, there's 2 right there.
I think the restrictions in the company prevent you from publishing stuff outside.
Okay. The company restrict you from publishing, right?
Struggling to understand concepts enough to actively demonstrate.
Okay. That's very good. Okay. All right. What else? No, you said you had a question.
Oh yeah, I had too many opportunities. People want you to do too much stuff.
Okay. But that's in your company or outside of your company?
In the company.
All right.
Outside's easy. You can choose what you do outside.
It's easy to figure out outside. Okay, cool. What else? What challenges you're facing right now in your career? Where do you want to get and you don't know how to get there? That's it? Right there. There's one right there.
I'm so busy, it's hard to find time to like learn new things and like play around with like new code libraries and stuff.
Right. Okay. Yeah, cool. And I think we can just kind of put those 2 together right there, right? What else? Right there. Very siloed, right? So because it's very siloed, what can't you do?
Very limited interaction at this point.
Very limited what? Sorry?
Limited interactions.
Oh, interactions. Okay. Yeah, and that's a problem because lots of people now most of us are working remotely right now, right? So it's makes it even harder interaction, right? Okay. What else?
Too many meetings.
Too many meetings
impacts the time that you have to do meaningful connections and
yes. Okay. Meaningful connections. Okay. All right, one more so we can complete this here. I mean, I have room here to put more, but one more. Okay, right here.
Finding good resources to learn new technology framework, new features.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's you talk to Barry here, right? He's the author here, right? Okay. What else? One more? No, that's good. If I only answer those questions here, everyone's happy? Okay. All right. So so let's talk a little bit about those questions here then, right? First of all, I think there's lots of questions here about time, right? So let's try to answer those here first, right? So, oh, that's fine, good resource. I mean, too many meetings, there's a little bit of time, kind of in terms of time, right? Okay, so time is always a problem, and I'm going to make it even harder, right? Because I always say that developers are, we love to learn, right? Is that reasonable, right? Actually, the word I prefer is not love to learn. I think we are addicted to learn, right? And I'm going to prove that you're addicted to learn, right? So who here has bought a book about something that you want to learn? You paid money on the book, you bought a book about something you want to learn, and you never even open it, right? Okay, you're addicted to learn, right? I'm going to go a step further, right? So who here has bought a course? You paid money for a course, and something that you want to learn, and you never even access the course, right? Okay, so that's the definition of addicted, right? We're spending money and things that we're not going to use, right? So, and that's the problem, right? So because we focus too much on the learning, right? And the thing is, the only thing that matters is the doing. The only thing that changes your brain is when you do things, right? So if all your focus on the learning, so why we're addicted to learning, we buy things and we try to put courses and we put like this long list of things that we need to learn, and we never have time for this, right? Time, guys, it's something that we say that we're going to manage time, right? So have you heard that? I need to learn how to manage my time, right? Time is something that we don't manage. Time, you either use it or you don't use it, right? So you don't manage time. So the only thing you can do is manage your priorities. It's focus on the things that are important for you and focus on the things that you really need to do, right? And here's the problem with that, is that for you to learn anything, you actually have to do things, because if you don't do, it doesn't work. And so a lot of times, and I think many of you might have this problem, I certainly had this a lot of times, that every time I wanted to learn something, I would, buy a book or go to a blog or watch a video or, buy a course, whatever. And then I would learn that stuff. And then I would never use it, right? And so then 2, 3, 6 months later, sometimes a year later, I have an opportunity to actually apply that stuff. And then I don't know anymore. So I have to go and learn it again, right? And the moment I learn it again, I actually can apply it, right? And so I'm just kind of spending more time learning more things and without using them. So here's the secret, right? And actually on the book, Secrets of Rockstar Programmers, and I think even James Gosling talks about this. And so the secrets that we have is that we have to stop to learn everything and you start learning about everything, because we should apply. Let me say this. I got here, right? And Barry said, Bruno, I'm going to pick you up at the hotel and take you to the State Garden User Group, right? And so when he got there, he said, Bruno, I have a gift for you. And he gave me a CD for video game. Yeah, that's Barry, right? So he gave me a CD, right?
Say so.
Right. So he gave me a CD of a video game, right? And so here am I with a CD in my backpack. I'm just waiting to get back home to go read the manual, right? To learn how to play the game, right? Is that how you do, right? Yeah? Read the manual? No. So if I want to play a game, what do? I go play it, right? And if I try to play it and it doesn't work, something I don't know how to do, what do? Go read the manual? Yeah, I know. You just direct to YouTube, right? So, usually you try several times, right? And then if you really can't do, you talk to your friends or go to YouTube, right? Now you go to ChatGPT. Just ask, hey, ChatGPT, how do I solve this game, right? So what do we do when we're doing games? We're doing what we call just-in-time learning. We learn to do. We don't learn to learn. We learn to do. So I'm just going to move here, and I'm going to stop sharing, right? So, oh, yeah. Yeah, no, it's not sharing the screen, but I'm just going to leave it here, right? So, yeah. All right. And I can always come here and people are going to see that with the camera, right? Okay. So we learn to do, right? We don't learn before doing. So that's my suggestion to every one of you. I understand that some things you might need to learn a lot before, right? And it's not, it doesn't work for absolutely everything. But if you stop trying to learn everything and you learn when you need to apply it, that saves you a lot of time and it makes you be able to do things when you need to do, right? Yeah, what?
I want to argue with you.
You want to argue with me? Yes, you can argue with me.
Oh,
Right.
you want a platform to argue?
Yes.
I
You know-
agree with you. You have to do in order to learn.
Right. Good.
But I object to a philosophy, if you are suggesting it,
Mm-hmm.
that the only kind of valuable learning is just-in-time learning. I think there is value in learning things to enrich yourself that you're not going to use tomorrow.
Right. I mean, look, guys, let me tell you one thing. Anything that's important for you, you can do. Right? The question was, I don't have time to learn everything. Right? So the most important thing that we need to do is find the important things. You know, I'm going to give even more than that, right? So, for example, I love reading. You know, so if you read like a novel, or you know, I love science fiction, right? And fantasy. So if you're gonna read, I don't know, Lord of the Rings, like really thick book, right? It takes a while for it to read. You know, that's not just-in-time learning, right? You're reading just to read, right? There's no point in doing it. Actually, the vast majority of things that we do, there's no point in it because we do a lot of entertainment. Entertainment is, there's no specifically thing. So anything that you want to do, you can do if you want to. The thing is, what matters to you? So even before that, before just-in-time learning, because the question was about learning, right? But even before just-in-time learning, you're going to learn things for what? What's your goal? What's your objective? What do you want to get? So that was the first question that I'm not asking you because I know that's more personal, right? So where you want to get. So if you want to tell me, that's good, right? But there is a reason why you're doing things. There's a reason. So there's lots of legacy, no time to do new things. Why do you want to do new things? You know, you want to do new things for what? Just to do new things, or you want to get something out of it? You know, do you want to be promoted? Do you want to go to a better company? Do you want you know, to work on more interesting projects? Why do you want to do it? Okay, so everything that we do is based on what's important for us. Now, one of the biggest things that we want to do, right? That's why I said you're addicted to learn, right? One of the things that we do want to do is we want to learn because we're learners. And so my suggestion to everyone here is that you apply, you start learning about everything. So just keep an eye open for everything. So what do you mean by knowing about everything? You know, you heard about, you know, Vinicius here mentioned Quarkus. Well, I never heard about Quarkus. So what that is? Maybe just Vinicius said that, doesn't matter. Then Bruno comes here and talks about something about Quarkus. This Quarkus thing might be an important thing. And then maybe, you know, you're in the meeting the next day, someone mentions, yeah, Quarkus. Oh, okay, so now I've heard about 3 times, right? Maybe I should know what that thing is, right? And so you open your computer, you go to ChatGPT, go to Google, go to Wikipedia, whatever, and you learn about what is Quarkus, what it's for, you know, what is the drawbacks, what are the advantages, how it compares to other things. Oh, so Quarkus is a kind of framework that's similar to Java EE. Okay, I know what that thing is. And that's enough. Why? Because the moment you have to do something with it, you're gonna know, okay, this is a good moment for me to apply Quarkus. And then you can learn to do it. Right? And that way you're gonna get a much faster result because when you apply things, that's when you learn more. Right? And so, I mean, of course, right? I'm talking maybe a simple example like Quarkus, right? Because everyone talks about Quarkus so much, so you probably already know what that is. You're probably already using it, so you already passed this thing. But there's so many things that come out all the time, right? And if you have to learn everything, what's going to happen is you're not going to learn anything. You're not going to go deep in anything enough, right? Okay, so learn about things, right? And then the other question was, so busy, right? How to find time? Again, the same thing. Finding time, guys, that's a good point, right? So we don't find time, we make time, right? We decide what's important for us. And let me tell you one thing. What's important for you, it's probably not Java or Quarkus, right? What's important for you is the thing that really matters to your life, right? Maybe your family, maybe your house, your health, right? So take a look on what really, really matters to you, right? And, maybe it's your job, maybe it's your career, right? So whatever it is, right? So take a look at what really, really matters to you and find the things that are important for you to do. And in the vast majority of the case, it's not learn new things. That's very important, right? And especially because when you want to have time to do anything, get a job that pays you to do that thing. That is the best way to have time to do anything that you want to do, right? That's the best time. Why? Because if you get paid to do that stuff, you have to work 8, 10 hours, Rodrigo said to me that he's working 14 hours a day. Yeah, you're going to work 14 hours a day being paid to do that. I bet you're going to learn a lot if you're doing this thing. Right? So the best way for you to learn new things is for you to find the job that's going to get you to do the things that you want to do. Right? And then you're going to do it. You're going to be paid to do it. And you're going to be very good at that stuff until you're going to learn something else. You might want to get a new job. So that's why it's so important for you to think about why I want to do that stuff. Because if you know why you want to do it, you can plan, you can organize yourself to do the things that matter. Make sense? So, okay, so too many meetings, right? Here's a question that's again about time, right? But that's probably a question about autonomy. Autonomy, guys, is one of the most important things for your career, especially when you grow a lot, especially if you want to grow beyond senior, you gotta have autonomy. And autonomy is something very, very weird. Because autonomy is the ability to do what you think is right. So autonomy, either you have it or you cannot ask for it. Because if you ask for it, it means you don't have it. And if you don't have it, you don't deserve to have it. Right? So autonomy is something that you conquer. Right? And you have to figure out, you have too many meetings? Okay, so how do I cut my meetings down? I don't want to do too many meetings. So how do I cut them down? Can I not go to the meetings? Maybe you can. No, I cannot because they're very important. Well, if they are important and you want to do it, it's because you have autonomy and you want to put your time on that thing because it's important for you. No, I cannot cut the meetings, but they're not important. That probably means you don't have autonomy.
5 minutes.
5 minutes, thank you. And so how do I solve that? How do I actually get that autonomy? How do I conquer that autonomy inside my company? That's, maybe you have to be promoted, right? Maybe you have to show your company you have enough value. They have to be promoted to something else. Maybe you have to change to another company. Maybe you have to change to another role. That you have to look inside what you're doing to actually go after those things. Okay? So actually, I should be seeing here so I don't lose myself here. But okay, so let's try to answer because I only have 5 minutes here. Come on. So there's one here, there's one here, right? Now, this one here says to do meaningful connections, right? Guys, you want to do meaningful things? The best, friends are not just people that we do fun things with. Friends are people that we do meaningful things with. So for you to do meaningful connections, go do things with people. Go do things with your team. Go do things with people in your work. Go do things with people outside of your work, right? The more meaningful things you do, the more friendship you build. I don't understand concept to demonstrate, right? So actually, I'm talking about too many opportunities right here, right? Too many opportunities falls again on priorities. Too many opportunities to do what? Developers, if you're like me, you probably have that problem that you want to say yes for everything, right? Everything that people tell you, I want to do this, I want to say yes, right? And so, yes, you're saying yes. Okay, so And then lots of developers tell me, oh, I need to learn how to say no. Have you ever thought about this? Right? And here's my problem with that, right? If you need to learn how to say no, it's because you want to say yes. Right? So you need to learn how to go against you. Right? So the best way to do this, right, is for you to start figure out what is your priority. And then instead of saying no, you start saying yes, but. Right? Too many opportunities, right? Someone, you know, hey, Gene, let's do a talk together, Java 1. It's a great opportunity, right? And she might say, well, but that would take a lot of time for me. It's not my goal right now. I don't want to go to Java 1, or I already have a talk there. You know, I don't want to talk with Bruno because he, you know, he speaks too much and never lets me say anything, right? So I don't actually want to do that, but I can say, yes, Bruno, I can help you revising your talk when it's ready. And so immediately she reduced, you know, a 6 month of preparation to, you know, maybe 1 hour for her to revise my talk. And then you can still say yes to the things that you want to do, but you say yes, but, you know, you restrict the amount of time you're going to put into that, for example. Now, if I say that, oh, yes, you know, you're going to talk to Java 1 with Bruno, that would be amazing for me. It would be so fun. We'd love to do that. So she said, yeah, let's do it, right? Let's work for 6 months together on doing this, right? So you start deciding what you want to do, and you don't have to learn how to say no. You learn how to say yes, but, right? Okay, so I don't understand concept to demonstrate, right? That's very interesting. If you don't understand the concept, the best way for you to do it is go explain to someone, right? You know, if I don't understand enough so I can demonstrate it, go explain to someone. Go explain, you know, to a friend. Go explain to a colleague. Go explain, you know, to a kid. Go explain to someone that knows less than you. Because the best way to learn, and now you're going to agree with me, right? The best way to learn is teaching someone else, right? It's even scientifically proven. There's several frameworks for this, but one that I like is the famous technique, right? Richard Feynman was a famous scientist, right? And you know, he working on, I think, on the atomic bomb and other things, right? He was a physicist. Sorry? Project Manhattan, right? So right here we are, right? Okay. So and so Feynman built this framework called the Feynman technique, and the heart of the Feynman technique is teaching someone. So the best way, so if you don't understand a concept well enough, the best way to do is teach someone. But I don't understand it well enough. Great. And here's something that I think is interesting. You think that you think when you think, but in reality, you only think when we speak. You only think when you write. You only think when you externalize. Our brains are too confused. You know, you're right here paying attention, but then, you know, then you had a stomachache, right? And you know, and that takes, you know, someone walks by and the screen flashes and immediately you're not paying attention anymore. That's how brains are. But when you have to externalize, when you have to explain something to someone, when you have to write something, that's when you focus and you actually think. Right? That's why we write codes. We don't think codes. We write code because when you externalize, that's when we think. So that's the best way for you to learn, to understand the concept, to explain to someone, even if it's really fast. Okay. And then finding good resources to learn new things, right? Well, you know, finding resources, so many resources on the internet, right? But here's the thing. Software development is more of an art than it is engineering. There's a lot of engineering software development. It's more of an art than engineering. It's a creative process. And how do you learn creative process? With other people. So you don't find good resource to learn new things? Go find a person. Go find a friend. Go find someone that want to do this thing with you, right? Go find someone that knows about that thing already. Go find someone you can talk to, not only reads, right? Not only learn, someone you can talk to, can discuss with, right? But I don't have anyone. I'm alone in the world. If you're alone in the world, go talk with ChatGPT. Seriously, he's a good guy, right? You know, if you talk to ChatGPT, right? And you say, hey, Geppetto, I want to talk to you, right? I have this idea. Tell me something about it. Right?
Your parrot.
Talk to your parent, right? That's a good too. Yes. You know, actually, it's a funny thing, right? Have you ever heard about the rubber duck debugging technique? Right? So the rubber duck debugging technique is a technique that you talk to a rubber duck. Right? You have a problem, a bug, you don't know what it is, and so you explain to the rubber duck what the problem is. And when you explain, you're like, oh, I know what the problem is, right? Because many times you explain to your friend. That's why when you submit a bug report, what do we ask you to do? Explain the bug. And so when you type and explain the bug, you're like, oh, I know the problem. And then you erase, you don't submit the issue, and you fix the bug. Wrong way. You finish submitting the issue, submit the issue, fix the bug, and fucking close the issue yourself, right? That's much better for your reputation, by the way. So, you know, so we have to talk. We have to explain to someone, talk to someone, learn from someone instead of learning from just from the internet. Learn from someone. That helps us a lot. And the last one, very siloed, right? Very hard to do interactions. That's why we're here. That's why we're here in a user group, right? You know, there's one more question. Someone said that my company, it's not here. What happened to that? Oh, I marked it. I doubt respond. Okay. So I'll go back to that one. Okay. So, you know, go talk with other people. You're not only in your company. A friend of mine from IBM told me at the beginning of this year, and I have been using the whole year. It's a phrase I thought very important. Your job can be fully remote, but your career cannot. So even if you work remotely, you have no one to talk to, your company is very siloed, you don't have any place to do interactions. That's why you have to do interaction with other people. Why? Because the only way for you to get out of this situation is meeting people outside of your company that are going to give you better jobs outside of your company. So you have to show up. You have to talk with people. It doesn't work for just coming here, sit down, and, you know, eating the pizza and go away. You have to stay for lunch. You have to stay for dinner, right? And go talk with people and go meet people and go discuss things. That's why I travel around the world. I love to travel. You know, I spend a lot of money traveling because I love to come here and meet you guys in person. Okay, so last one here, restriction in the company. Guys, because your company doesn't want to talk about their projects, it does not mean you cannot talk about what you learned, about the challenge you had, about the difficulty you had. You don't have to mention the company. You don't have to mention the project to discuss the challenge that you have. Right? There's a lot of challenges, right? You don't know how to learn something. You're trying to apply something that's very hard for you. You know, you had difficulty discussing with friends. You have difficulty to come to the user group, whatever. There's lots and lots of things going on in your life. There's lots and lots of things you can talk about, even if you never mention your company, never mention the project. So restriction from the company, it's not enough, right? I always tell a story about Vipin. Vipin is a friend and mentee of mine. Vipin is from India, and he was working in one of the big finance companies in the world in India. And Vipin, and I know I run out of time, but I'm going to finish really quick. And Vipin, he had a problem because the only network he had, like a few hundred people, was LinkedIn. Everything else is zero, right? So when he started writing articles, he could only publish on LinkedIn, right? You know, and promote on LinkedIn, otherwise no one is going to see it. But he never published his article on LinkedIn. I was like, Vipin, why don't you share your articles on LinkedIn? That's the place you have some people to see it. And he said, Bruno, I cannot put things on LinkedIn because my boss is on LinkedIn. So if I publish something on LinkedIn, my boss calls me and says, you have too much free time. You should be working more. And so that's what his situation. He could not even use his free time to talk about his thing because his boss was thinking that he was just lacking off, right? But VP start talking with people, start publishing things on LinkedIn, even though your boss. But here's the interesting thing: because VP was publishing things, the boss of his boss noticed what VP was doing. And one day, this guy called him and said, "You know what? I'm looking that you're doing very cool things. You talk about open source, you talk about Java, and you're doing all these cool things, and everyone knows you, right?" So this guy said to him, I have 30 projects under me. I want you to go interview all the 30 projects and choose the best project for you to be at. because I want to be in the best. I want you to be in the best project for the company or for you. So today, Vip is a vice president of his company, right? It's a very technical guy working on cool stuff because people around him knows what he does. And here's the interesting thing. It's not your boss going to promote you. It's the boss of your boss of your boss, right? And that is the guy that needs to see who you are, right? Okay, so what I know, I put this link here, right, for the book, but I'm just going to tell one more thing here for you guys. Oh, actually, if you have problems with planning career, this book here's a good book, right? So if you don't know what you want to do, if the first question was really hard for you, this book here's a very short book. So it's just a few pages, full of questions for you to think about your career, for you to think where you want to get, right? This book is really good for you to think about this. And if you have, you have over 10 years of career and you kind of lost, you don't know what you want to do, right? I'm running after I come back. I'm not going to travel much in December, right? So I'm trying to use December to help you do the next step in your career, whatever it is, right? So if you want, I'm going to be here for a few more minutes. You can talk to me, and we can schedule a one-on-one conversation, right? And I'm going to sit down in this conversation. I'm going to sit down with you. We're going to make a plan. We're going to find out what the challenge that you have. We're going to solve the biggest challenge that you have, and we're going to make a plan for you to move your career forward. Okay? So totally free, right? Whoever wants to do this, just stay here with me, and I'll give you a link for you guys to schedule. Okay? So that's it. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to both of our speakers, and we look forward to seeing you next month.
And let me just tell one thing here. This is the first time I'm using, I like to do this question-driven talks, and that's the first time I'm using this thing here. Francois Martin is a mentee of mine, and he loved the way I was doing talks. And so he created this tool here to do the question-driven talks. First time I used it, it was pretty cool. He shared with me last week, and I was experimenting here today. So thanks for being a guinea pig. All right. Thank you. Oh, everyone online, right? So again, Claire did not give me a chance to answer your questions, but that's okay. If you need any, send me an email and I'll